Uh-huh. So the reason why we have been affected with the holidays a lot, we have been affected with the holidays a lot. And so far, the other modules, they are almost done, but ours, we have been having holidays for quite a while right now. The Easter holiday, the another holiday for Eid and everything. So it has been affecting our classes so much. And we really need to compensate. So take this one as a usual class. That's why I was waiting for people to join in because I wanted to cover it as a usual class. It's going to be a very long class because I'm going to go deeper into the basics of JavaScript so that next time when you get to JavaScript, you're going to enjoy it and it's going to be easier for you. So, I wish I want to close this question so that people can be able to focus in class. I don't know how I can be able to close this one. Yeah, let me pause it for now. So nobody's going to submit. I'm going to open a forum for that once in a while. Yeah, just like I did in Python class for those who are there. I'm going to be opening a forum for questions, both the charts, reaction, and everything from once in a while. I just need concentration, even for those who are raising their hands. Like I said, even next week, instructor Ed is going to be away for a while. He's on a leave, work leave. I'm going to be taking you because we are serving in the same department, web development, but basically you guys were to meet me in the next specialization module for Manstack. You are going to meet there, but regardless, we are working with him in the same module, that is web development and Manstack, because they are the same category. But regardless, for me, I wanted you guys to cover, even you can check the class sections. I've created a catch-up class for next week as well. So we are going to cover week 5 today, week 6 next week on Monday, and then week 7 during the catch-up class. Good thing is that we have the recordings. That is an upper hand that we have. So week 5, 6, and 7. Week 8, we are going to cover it the 5th of May. Then it's going to be the last class. But the fundamental class, that vital class that you have to cover is week 5, 6, and 7. The other classes there, it's not week 8 is not that important because the final for the project, we are going to go to specialization. Then after 8 weeks, we're going to do a final project for graduation. But for now, take this one as a serious class. The recording is going to be provided in your Telegram channels. The recording is going to be posted as well in the LMS where the course is located. Let me just find it. So we are going to find the recording under here. Yes, we have another recording here, but beside the point, I'm going to post another one under the catch-up class, which is going to be very detailed. So I'm going to post another one here. This was for last week, yet people didn't understand this one well because with web development, JavaScript is vital, it's pivotal for you to understand JavaScript more than anything else because just learning HTML and CSS, that is enough. That is like painting a room, painting a wall. But then when you take a step ahead and learn JavaScript, now you make that room interactive, that door to open, that hinge to be able to move and everything. So we make interactivity. And you're going to find out that JavaScript runs on web browsers. That is what makes it possible for you to click a button and something happens. So JavaScript is very important. I really need your undivided attention today for this class because after this class, everything else is going to be flowing. So I hope people are going to be attentive. The class is being recorded as we speak. No worries. But this class is really important. This class is really important. Just hold on. So I'm not going to cover anything that is here. That is introduction to JavaScript. That is following everything suit here. But these are the 4 modules that you're going to cover. Each and every module is going to have a hands-on just to make sure that we are on point with what we're talking about. Anyway, so first things first, let us navigate to our folder. Let us navigate to our folder whereby you're going to find something there. So and after this, I'm going to push a repository. Then I'm going to share with you guys that repository. Okay. No, let me see if my screen is visible. Great, it is visible. Let me hide it. I've disabled the Copilot, so I don't want auto completion. But at some point, I'm going to be pasting the code bases so that we can be able to move faster to cover the most critical part. And then I'm going to be jumping through the obvious, not covering them. But anyway, JavaScript, very, very interesting topic to speak about. Um, JavaScript. Let me open a forum so that I can be able to listen through you guys so that I can know where we're at right now. So the forum is open. Tell me something. How do you take up, how when you think about JavaScript, what comes to your mind? Like, how is the topic to you? How is the topic, JavaScript? This is a very interesting topic. Enhances interactivity, all good, interesting indeed. Similar to Python. People have answers. Anyway, responsiveness. So, like, it's the lifeblood of interactive websites. Yeah, allowing functionality, adds functionality web pages. Yeah, scary but interesting. Yeah, it is scary but interesting. Yeah, somewhat foggy. Yeah, the basic of web. Used with framework. Actually, it has frameworks. A lot of frameworks actually. Events, dynamic. Interesting. So let me close the forum so that we can jump on the next thing. Or before I close the forum, so JavaScript. Introduction to JavaScript and document object model manipulation. So essentially, JavaScript is what I can say definition is, this is a high level programming language, but also it is interpreted. So it is a high level interpreted programming language. Primarily, it is being used to enhance web pages, enhancing these web pages to provide user interactivity. So while it is there to give HTML structure and CSS, HTML is there to provide structure, CSS, the beauty, styling. JavaScript is there to add behavior to web pages. Yeah, so it is there to add web pages, like behavior to these web pages. So the role of JavaScript, as you may have known before, it is serving in different aspects from the client-side scripting. So when you talk about client-side scripting, you're talking about execution in the user browsers, in the browsers rather than in the web server. So it is on the front-end part. So that is called the client side, the front end. When you talk about front-end developer, it is somebody who builds something that is visually, like something that visually appealing, that person building user interfaces. Then, of course, we have dynamic content. So when you talk about dynamics, as far as JavaScript is concerned, it is there to, it updates content without reloading the page. So dynamic is when, assuming that you're using something like WhatsApp, let's say WhatsApp web or just WhatsApp in the phone. When you change your profile photo, does it reload the entire WhatsApp? No. It changes it changes the profile photo, then it goes on like nothing has happened. So it doesn't affect the entire interactivity of the page by reloading everything. You just change that particular part that you want to change. Something like form validation. When we talk about form validation, you're there to check user input before they submit something to the server. You see where Google Forms is, like you submit something, where you're supposed to put a number, then you put something like a text, it is not going to accept that. So that is part of form validation. Where you are supposed to put 8-character password, then you put 6, that is JavaScript acting. It is preventing you from submitting it. You see? Another scenario is that where you are supposed to put your email, then you put a company address. It is not going to accept because that is called form validation. It is validating you as you go on. And of course, the best part of it is that animation and effects. JavaScript is the best at doing that. We have something like 3.js. I can even show you. 3.js. It is used to create 3D models, like 3D animations. As far as JavaScript is concerned, this is all JavaScript. So if I can come and check, for example, let me go to documentation. If I want to create a text that is looking somehow like a 3D something, you're going to find everything here, like something like WebGL. This is used in game development. So that is JavaScript. So animation and everything. When we talk about animation, we have a framework called as Eternity. So as Eternity UI. As Eternity UI, you're going to find things. This is remember JavaScript is being used as on the client side, right? So even animation and effects, it is used to, when I come and browse the components here, give it a minute. So you're going to find things like this. For example, if I click a 3D card, this is how it behaves. So I can hover on this one. You see, it dances. I can go to the next one. This is animation, JavaScript, pure JavaScript. When you go to the code, yes, you're going to find things to do with the HTML, but mostly it is JavaScript. You see, mostly it's JavaScript. React is a front-end framework or a front-end library for JavaScript. So that is essentially that. We are going to get there to see how things like this are being formulated under document object model. We have things there that are so much great. We have API integration. So you are able to communicate with the database, to communicate with the backend using the front end. So all of this is the role of sorry, it's kicked out. I was kicked out by, I don't know, my internet or what. But anyway, you can progress. Sorry. Internet issues. I don't know what is wrong with Kenya Power today. See if my screen is screen is visual. Great. It's visual enough. So let us start by starting at the forefront, which is JavaScript basics. So the syntax and everything. So I know we have covered HTML. Let me just zoom in. I know we have covered HTML, but within HTML, we can able to have JavaScript work there. So there are 3 ways to include JavaScript in your web pages. 3 ways. We have inline JavaScript, internal JavaScript, and external JavaScript. Just like CSS, we have inline CSS, internal CSS, and external CSS. The same way we are going to apply that in JavaScript. So how do we go about inline JavaScript rather? So we are going to say index.html, then our usual HTML5. So how do you deal with inline? Let's say you're working with a button. You're working with a button. So this button is saying, click me. So in here, you can come and work with a function called onClick. So this onClick is going to have alert, is going to have JavaScript, by the way, alert. That alert is going to say, hello, PLP. Let me remove that one to be single, just like that. So this one is inline, internal. This one is called inline CSS. Let me just note it there. Inline JavaScript. That one is called inline JavaScript. We can run it and see. So go live. Just like that, when I click, as you can see, hello PLP. Click again, hello PLP. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we call, let me zoom in also this one. I'll just go back where it was. So this one is called inline JavaScript. What you're doing basically is working within HTML. You're not going anywhere. So it is different, just like inline CSS. Rather than coding outside, you code within that element of HTML. So the element that we're talking about in this case is called that one. Of course, if you're talking about CSS, just to touch base, I don't know if you have covered CSS. If you're talking about CSS, for inline, you can come and say just background color, give it yellow. And then you say about color, give it black. Just like that. Then you're having something like that. So it is inline. You're talking about inline. But I don't know if you have covered, just let me just get on the chart. If you guys have covered CSS yet. Or, yes, you have covered, but have you understood CSS? Somebody saying no, other people yes, other people no, other people yes. Which is which? Have you covered CSS? Wonderful. So if you have covered CSS, then you understand between inline CSS, internal CSS, and external CSS. So inline, when we talk about anything inline JavaScript, inline CSS, you're within the element. If it is button, we're within the button. Internal, we are going to see internal, how internal works for both CSS and JavaScript, but majorly we're focused with JavaScript today. And external is that when you import the file from outside, you create your CSS or JavaScript outside, then you import it into HTML. That is now external. Internal is the way that you can have CSS up here, or you can have JavaScript just working within a scope of something like this. This is now internal. We are going to get there. So that is called internal. That we have just done inline JavaScript. Inline JavaScript. Let me put my phone to do not disturb. I'm in class with my students, so I don't want anybody to disturb me. Anyway, so that one is called inline. I'm going to allow forums for people to ask questions. So if you raise your hand right now, I'm not going to allow anybody to speak. That one is called inline. And as you guys have seen, we can enlarge this one and you can see that button. You can see that button. Even I can come and say, yeah, so let us change something like, let's change something like say, border radius, give it 20 pixels. Then you have something like that is round. You can remove the shadow and you can remove anything. So that one is called inline. Anything inline, you see, you do everything within one line. How about external? No, internal. Let us cover internal. So we talk about internal JavaScript. Internal JavaScript, it is when you do like this. You just write script, has an opening and closing tag. Then everything JavaScript, you put it inside there. You put everything about JavaScript in there. So for this one, you can come and say function. Now declare your function. That function, call it greet. Then, by the way, for those people who don't understand, this is how a function works. We are going to get to functions. Don't worry, we are going to get to functions. You guys are going to understand how functions are being created, the syntax behind creating things in JavaScript. For now, if you don't understand anything, this is just paraphrasing. You're just introducing the syntax of JavaScript, basically just introducing it. So for this one, I'm just saying this is what we call, this is how you define internal JavaScript. So hello world, something like that. So then when you call this function called greet, so I can come here. So I can come here, then I can replace this one with greet. Let me see if it is going to work. You see it is working. So when I replace, so in place of this, I just write my logic under this internal. Then that logic is under function. You have done Python and other languages. You see, you can be able to borrow that function and use it anywhere else. Reusable functions. You're going to bring it here. But don't worry if you're not understanding. We are going to get to functions later on. Don't worry. The difference that you're supposed to strike right now, it is the difference between inline JavaScript and internal JavaScript. Those two. But then this is the recommended one, which is called external. So external JavaScript, this is how you do it. So external JavaScript, you come and say external. So this one is the most recommended one. So this is where you come and say script, but then in here, we have so many scripts. I use source. So then I can come and put my file here called script.js. Remember, it is not here in the header tag. No. It is not in the header tag. HTML works in the header tag, but JavaScript works in the body tag, just at the bottom there. We have some cases, there's a reason why we don't allow JavaScript to be here, because we want other things to load fast. JavaScript to load the last part. JavaScript is going to load as the last one. That is what we want. That's why we are letting it to be here. So that is called external. So external, you can now to create your file. So let me create this file called JavaScript, blah, blah, blah. Then I can come and put my function, a function like this one. I can come and put it here. I can come and put it here. So let me even comment this one out so that you can be able to see how it works. So when I go back here, I expect this one to work. It works. Why? It is not relying on this. It is relying on this. So how is it relying on this for this one to work? For this one to work, it is here. It is here right here. You can come and change here. Hello, PLP, Feb, forgot. It is auto-refreshed. So when I click hello, PLP, Feb code. So that is JavaScript. This one is the most recommended. Why? It is recommended because when you work externally, this is the best practice. External JavaScript files are preferred for some reasons. I'm going to mention three. Number one, it is better code organization. You organize your code better. You remove that thing called dry. Dry means, for those who don't know, dry in development, in programming means do not repeat yourself. Do not repeat yourself. That is what we call dry. Do not repeat yourself. So you avoid things like that. So number two, browser caching. When we talk about browser caching, we're talking about just bundling the code that is enough to run on the browser so that You cannot run an entire program on the browser. You just need to bundle it up. So you are supposed to compile it. Yes, JavaScript is an interpreted language, but at some point when you run something like to compile it, it's going to compile to that friendly language that is able to communicate with the browser. Number three, separation of concerns. Let's say you're working with a larger code base. So when you're working with a larger code base, you find yourself confused at some point. So you're supposed to know where to find the bugs. Where did I go wrong? Then when things break, it doesn't affect the entire system. You just go to a certain particular file and find it there. So you repair it when it is there. Take this analogy. You're having a car, then you have junked everything in the engine sector. The steering, the seats, where the seat is being locked, it is relying on the engine. The AC part is relying on the engine. I don't know which part is relying on the engine. The electronics are relying on the engine. So when the electronics fails for the vehicle, even the engine is going to fail. When the electronics fail, the engine is supposed to continue running. So separations of concern, you're supposed to segregate your code. They should be running independently. You just need, when I need this code, I just need to borrow it. I just need to borrow it, not just congesting things together. That is the recommended part of JavaScript. Don't worry about the syntax. I'm going to cover how to declare functions and everything. I was just trying to frame out the three ways you can be able to have JavaScript in a web page. Inline, internal, let me just uncomment. Inline, internal, and external. This one is the most recommended one, external. And I've given 3 reasons. Now, still on that, let me now go to the best part. This is now JavaScript. Now we are now getting to JavaScript. So let us declare something called variables.js. Now, we have 3 ways to declare variables. 3 ways. Let that sink in. We have 3 ways to declare variables in JavaScript. Note that. So the first way to declare variable, we are using something called var. So this one is an older way. So it is function scoped. You can just write somewhere, function scoped. So try to avoid this one for the modern code base. Let me just try to avoid this one for modern code base. It is an older way. Yet other languages used it, by the way, like Solidity and others. This is an older way to declare variables. It is function scoped. So how do you declare using var? So you say var, then say this is age. Don't worry, after a variable, I'm going to take you to data types because they're linking to the next one. So yeah, I'm just trying to show you. So age is equals to 25. Don't worry, why are you saying age is equal to 25? How does it? No, don't worry. So my university lecturer used to tell us when he was teaching us C programming back then, take a variable like a box or a container. So this container, in our case, is called age. So it is holding something. This equal sign doesn't mean that they are the same. No. After data types, I'm going to cover something called, trying to find the best word to put that. We are going to go to comparisons. How do you do comparison? We have strict equality and everything that comes with that. Don't worry, I'm just going to take you step by steps. So my lecturer told me that age is a container. 25 is something that belongs to the container. So it is something that you put inside the container. Something that you put inside the container. So age is the container, something that is holding something inside. Then 25 in our case is a value that you put inside the container. So what it is trying to mean here is that 25 is belonging to age. Not equal to age, no, belonging to age. So this one is called assignment. That equal sign, this equal sign is called assignment operator. It is called assignment, not assignment for the class, no. Assigning to. 25 is assigned to age. 25 is assigned to age, not equals to 25 to age. No. So age is a container. 25 is a value or something that is belonging to age. Get that noted down. So var is just a variable. It's just a variable declaration type. Let us go to the other one. So we have another one called let. So let, this one is, can say this one is block-based or block-scoped. Block-scoped, so you can say value can change, can be changed. Or we can say something called mutability or mutable. So just say mutable. Let me allow the chat so that you can see people who are keen, who have done their research. Don't worry if you are a newbie, though. Learn from the others. Learn from the others. On the charts, what do you understand about mutability in programming? What do you understand about mutability? When you talk about mutability, we have Darlene saying can be changed, Kevin can be changed, can be altered, can be changed. Basically, for those who don't understand, these people are right. It is changeable. It is, you can be able to change it. So it is called mutable. It is mutable. In programming use, there's the word mutability. Somebody is saying you have to repeat inline JavaScript. Don't worry. You are going to get there. Okay, enough, people. Let us now go back to class. So, mutability. So you can be able to change. When you declare something, I'm going to show you later on how these things are able, you're able to change them. Kindly increase your volume. I think mine is at maximum. I think mine is at maximum. Yeah, kindly increase your volume. So let us go back. For the one who was talking about inline, we're going to get there, don't worry. So it is mutable, which means you can be able to change. You are going to see how it affects everything. So name equals to, let's call this person John. So that's how you declare it. I'm not going to repeat about variables, what is a container, what is a value. So in this case, John is a value. Name is a container that is holding John. Yeah. So let us go to the modern one, which we normally like. It is called const. So this one, of course, is block scoped. You can say values cannot be changed. Or you can say immutable. Immutable. You cannot change it. Once you declare it, you cannot change. That is final. So this is how you do it. So you can come and say something like pi. You cannot change pi. Pi is that something like obvious 3.143 or 3.14. It is normally 141, I think 14159. Yeah, something like that. So, and of course, don't forget, you have to close. That is something about JavaScript. This is a catch-up class, so I believe you guys already have a preamble of what JavaScript is. I'm just trying to do everything for the sake of those who didn't understand, like are doing it for beginner's sake. But I'm going to jump through the obvious, like I said. Other things are obvious. I'm not going to go through them. But you're going to understand them more when you go to projects. So we're going to cover 4 sectors, which means 4 projects. So just allow me, if I'm rushing, please just understand that the class is being recorded. You can jump on it later on and rush through. Even for that person who is talking about inline, I'm not going to go behind. So kindly just move along. But just to give you the peace of mind is that inline, you work within the elements. Inside the elements, if it is a button, you work within the button. So even, let me remove this one. It is confusing you. You work within, inside, like inside here. You declare JavaScript inside there. So we have talked about these variables, but somebody is trying to understand what is name, why John is in double quotes and age is not in double quotes. What are you not trying to tell us? Don't worry, that is called data types. So data types. So data types, we have two types of data types. We have primitive data types and we have non-primitive, or you can say reference data types. The second one, the latter, that one is so much, you are supposed to be happy about that because data structures and algorithms, that's where they originate from. Basically just from there. So primitive. So we have primitive types, data types. And what you can say about primitive data types, under primitive data types, we have like six primitive data types. The first one, we have string. So this one, you can say that these are text values. So you can come and say, let maybe greeting equals to hello world. Then you can have another one, maybe trying to think. Yeah, the essence of you can be able to change it. You can come and say, let something like backticks. I'm going to introduce something called backticks. It is interesting that I introduced this one so that later on you cannot be confused. So backticks, it is not that single quote like that. No, no, no. Or double quote like that. No. Backticks is the one that is located just below your escape. On your keyboard, that button just below your escape. When you hit it, that one is called backticks. It is used when you want to integrate dynamics, when you want to use something that is dynamic, something that is changing within your code base. So you can come and say, let me just have, you can embed. So this is how you do backticks. Remember, I'm just brushing through. This is how you do backticks. So I can come and bring greetings. And then I come and say, it is called template literals, something like that. Template literals. You can browse things if you don't understand. So, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I'm saying it is mutable, it is because right now I'm saying greetings, hello world. I can come later on and change this hello world to be something else, then it's going to be reflective right here. So when I say you can embed greeting with the template literal, I can mean you can embed hello world, you can embed anything that I can change here. Anything that I want to change here, it is going to be affected here. That's why we are talking about immutability, but that's not the essence. The essence is you're supposed to just understand it, how it is. Now, we have another one called numbers, not integers, numbers. So this one is just integers, just for people to understand integers and floating points. Floating points are being used on something called like this one, decimals. For those people who are having a background in computer, they've been taught something about float and double. But for us, we just say floating points. Floating points allows us to use decimal places. So that's why we're talking about numbers. A good example is, I'm able to spin a few. So let integer, my spelling, integer equals 42. And what you have to understand about string is that you are supposed to use single quote, double quotes, and backticks, anything that is a string, text formats, text values. So 42, we can have another one, which is a decimal. Remember, these are just variables, any name. 3.14, something like negative. So let negative, that's also a number. So negative 10. That is called numbers or floating points. Then we have another one called Boolean. So Boolean, this is just basically true and false, or true or false. So true or false, you can say let is logged in equals true. Remember, it is not uppercase like JavaScript, like Python, like true. This is not like Python, so don't confuse if you're coming from a Python background. So let as permission, like just declaring normal as permission equals to false, just like that. That one is Boolean, simple and clear. Not going to drag there. Then we have undefined. Undefined, basically these are just variable that are declared but not assigned any value. So we call them undefined. Undefined. So these are just variables declared but not assigned any value. Yeah, value of values. So you can come and say here, let not or let PLP, leave it like that. Or you can say, when you console log something like this, you come and say console log. When you console log something like this, let me just PLP, just to give you a show for so that you can go to understand. Also zoom in there. So you can come and say node variables. You see, we have undefined. It is undefined. That is the answer that you're going to get there. Because when you anytime you encounter something like this, just know there's a variable that has been declared but not assigned any value. Anyway, so let me console log that one. So that's undefined. How about null? So null, that's another data type. So null you can say basically is like intentional absence of any value. So you have declared a variable, but you have assigned a value. But this value you say null. Whenever you say value null, what you say that I'm intentionally saying that no value here. So you can come and say just intentional. I call it intentional because yeah, you're doing it. Intentional absence of any value. So you can come and say let's say employee data. Employee employee data. Then you say null. When you say the value is null, basically when you print this one, it's just going to give you null because you have intentionally omitted data. Then you can come and say another one, the last one. Under primitive, remember, under primitive. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 data types. Then you have something called symbol. So for symbol, you can say just unique and immutable values. These are unique and immutable values, immutable. You see? So a good example, so we can come and say unique. After declaring all the data types, I'm going to open the forum again for any question, understanding, queries, and everything. So unique and immutable, you can say values. So this is not doesn't concern you, but for just your information, this has been so, this data type symbol was not there before. It is there from schema-script 6. So just try to give you a spec of what you're supposed to understand. So ES6. ES6. So what is ES6 or schema-script 6? So it's called schema, this one here, schema-script version 6. It was launched 2015, blah, 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 blah. So that something called symbol was there from ES6. It was not there in schema-script 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No, it was not there. It was updated as soon as that new version was there. So JavaScript introduced new primitive data type called symbol, which is a unique and immutable identifier. So I hope you people can be able to read what I'm reading here. This is from browser. Just do your research. So symbols are often used to add unique property keys to any object to prevent collision with the keys from other code or to hide them from the typical access methods, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So things like this. So you declare it like that, symbol, blah, blah, blah. When you attach this thing called symbol here, you just make it to be unique. So that function called symbol, then as soon as you print that one, it is going to specifically do that. But most importantly, when you go and read about this, so symbols can be created using the symbol function, which returns a unique value throughout a lifetime of the program. So optionally, a description can be provided as a string, but it does not affect the uniqueness of the symbol. So for example, you have been given there. So just go and do research about this because this is a new one that came. It was not there, but right now we are EschemaScript version 6 and above. So that data type is not used entirely a lot, but you're going to find it in things like this, as you can see. Other people can be able to say, like for you have done database, we have primary key and foreign key, right? So in our case, you can be able to denote a certain value like a unique identifier. That's, we can say, a primary key. So in this case, we can be able to say symbol can be used as key objects, key in the objects, but they must be enclosed in square brackets to be properly interpreted as keys. So things like that. So this is something that you just have to go and do research by your own and understand it much better. But in my case, I'm just going to just show you how it is declared. So you can come and say let unique, you can say unique ID. Then you come and say symbol. So this symbol, I'm just going to do like this. I've already explained how and why it is being done like that. So later on, you're going to see how it affects other things, blah, blah, blah. So that is part of primitive data types, primitives. Now, how about non-primitive, or you can say reference data types? Reference data types. So under reference data types, we all know, like we can say we have like, initially, we only have two. As of now, we only have two. We have objects and arrays. In Java, in Python, they call arrays as list. In Python, they call dictionary as objects. They call objects as dictionary, blah, blah, blah. So these are called reference. So we have the first one called object. So you can say this one is like collection of key value pair. So key value. I've just talked about key value under this. Then here, I'm just going key value pairs. So how do you do that? So you as a person, take an object like a person. You as a person, you have a name, you have an age, you have a lot of things. Like if I want to describe you, what do I need to describe you particularly? So you fall under an object. So you can come and say let person. You can come and say, so under this person, I like doing it like this so that I can have it vertically, not horizontally. It is better that reading. So, and if you realize I'm using camel casing when typing, I'm used to that. It is the standard way of doing things. So you as a person has a first name. Then you can come and say, John normally go with John Doyer, just not to mention anybody. Then the last name, you can say age. Age 30, then you can say, is this person a student or not? So you can say is student. What is happening here? Is student. Then you can say, is this a student or not? So what you're trying to see here is that I'm able to mix data types of various types together. I have strings, I have number, I have Boolean, all of them together in one object. So remember, collection of key value pairs. Key value pairs. When you go and do research about objects in JavaScript, you're going to find a lot of things pertaining that. You're going to find a lot of things pertaining that. So that's how you do it. So additionally, how do you access these properties? Because this object called person has properties. One of the first properties called first name, we have last name, we have age, we have student. How do you access them? I want to access particular part of that object. How do you do that? So this is just part of, I can say, not necessary, but accessing object property. So you can come and say, you just need to do console log. So we have two ways. Two ways. We have the first one, which is my favorite, called parent child. So in this case, try to listen to me. Come back, try to listen to me. So what is a parent? A child is within a parent, right? Or a child is under a parent. So a parent can have several children, right? But a child cannot have several parents. Like you can only have, like, you're talking about parent-to-child relationship. So person, in this case, is called a parent. Child is after you have passed through the parent. So that's how I normally interpret it. So bear with me. That is my way of understanding. And later on, you're going to find out why it is so. So person, how do I access this one? So I start by a person. So I start by saying person, then I do dot. As soon as I do dot, I get all the properties. I can get age, I can get blah, 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 blah. So I can say, let us access the first name, just like that. So in this case, I expect to find John. So I can come and say John. So I'm able to see John. So that's between a parent, what do you call? Parent-child relationship. So parent dot child, that's how I do it. Parent dot child dot object, then you get the property. So for you to access something inside, you have to actually start with that thing, then dot, the property that you want to get. That's the first way. The second way, which is a new one for some people, and normally don't use it for some reason, but it is effective in its own nature. So for the second one, I can say person, then I can access it in a different way. I can access it using that you key value pair something, blah, blah, blah. So I can come and say, put square brackets, then come and say last name. Just like that, last name. But I don't use dot here. I don't use dot. I just say person, then I specifically access that property. So that one is going to give me the last name, just like that, though. It is going to give me, like, I can come and change here, say age. You see? So that's the second way. Don't worry, these are just ways of accessing. The same thing is going to apply. The same thing is going to apply to arrays, except in arrays, when you talk about objects, you don't talk about indices or index or anything. But in arrays, you talk about indices. For you to access anything, you have to use indices. These are just part of data structures and algorithms, but let me comment that one and that one so that we cannot have anything here. Now, let me handle the last one. Then I'm going to open the forum for questions. So we have another one called arrays. What you can say that this is just part of, like, ordered list. You're talking about ordered list of values. Ordered list of values. So you can come and select colors. Then you have, I want you to strike the difference here. So we have red, we have blue, then we have orange, something like orange. So you're going to find that it is not the same as objects. So for objects, you're able to mix data types, but for arrays, one array works with only one type of data type. If you are doing strings, it is strings. If it is Boolean, Boolean. You cannot be able to mix. You cannot be able to mix. But at some point, I think with the latest script, you are allowed to mix. With the latest script, you are allowed to mix. We are going to see that how. Previously, we used to teach that you're not supposed to mix. But remember, JavaScript evolves. So we are going to see that in a short while. We are going to see that in a short while. I don't know if it is going to work, but from my research, I found out that that's the case. But for now, let me just use the one that we normally teach. So we have colors. I don't know if it's going to work, but let me see. For example, let me see mixed. Let me just say call this one mixed. Then call this one, call this one hello. I'm just mixing things to see if it is going to work. It was not working in the past, but right now, let us see if it's going to work. Then I'm going to mix something like an object. So name, then I'm going to say object. So how do you access this? So for you to access this, the same thing. So let us try to access the first one. I want to see. So I want to see if mixed is going to work. If it is not going to work, then in Kenya, you say Kojaba. Let us proceed. So let me use the first one. So let me find the length of this array. So to find the length of an array, just trying to find how many objects, how many items we have there inside. We have 4. So it works. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 items. Let me try access the second one. So for you to access something in an array, you use index. So indices. So the first thing, the first value in an array, it is normally denoted by index number 0. Then we have 1, 2, 3. So when I call this one, which is 0, 1, 2, so I come and put here 2. I expect to find true. So that is what I expect to find. I'm going to open the forum right now for people to ask questions, and then I'm going to open the Q&A, and also so that we can be able to go to type conversion, and then we can be able to put this one to bed. So this one. Let's hold on. Just hold on. Trying to set something here. Anyway, yeah. So let me open the forums, start with the charts. In Kenya, you say seme kutoke. So it means just say anything. We are not working with the hackathon question, please. I'm not going to answer anything hackathon right now. I've opened the charts. Have you understood anything so far? Or you have any question? Also open I've also opened the Q&A. Yeah, semicolon, you can put it, but in a large code base, when you try to compile this, it's not going to work because of you're missing semicolon. So yeah, it's supposed to be there, even for console log. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So yeah, it is not compulsory, but just it is not like Python. So don't miss. In other instances, you are supposed to put semicolon. In other instances, it's not a must. Yeah, I'm running using what do you call? Yeah, Node. I'm running using Node. Just have Node.js installed. So how do you work with that? So for you to work with that, for me, I use Node, not directly. I use Node via something called Node Version Manager, NVM. So go onto the internet, go and find how to install NVM in your Windows or Linux or anything. But I know most of you use Windows. So go and find how to work with that. Somebody's getting a lot of errors there. Yeah, you see, when you did console log Isaac, you say mixed, but then when you put the square brackets, you put two outside. The syntax is not correct. The two is supposed to be inside the square brackets. Oh, I'm using Linux, or Ubuntu particularly. It is great for programming. So I'm using NVM. So use NVM. For me, I can be able to check the versions of NVM of Node that I want to use. I can just switch. If I want to, right now I'm using the latest, which is Jod. I can be able to switch to iron, to hydrogen. Hydrogen is my favorite because it's long-term support. Of course, all of them are LTS. LTS means long-term support. For now, no. No extensions I can advise, like not exactly, because it is not going to help you. You can use VS Code, CAS, or anything, but for me, the extensions that I have, GitHub Copilot, Live Server, Pylons, Python, you see, don't have any, but it still works. So go to the internet, find how to work with NVM, Node Version Manager, learn how to install it in your machine. Just learn it. You are supposed to learn it by yourself. Yeah. We have some Q&A. Let me find out who is talking. Must I download JavaScript or do I need to use an extension in JavaScript? JavaScript, just download and work with the NVM. No, Node comes with JavaScript. Node is a runtime environment for JavaScript. Note that down. Node is not a framework. Node is not a framework in JavaScript. Node is a runtime environment. You cannot work with JavaScript without Node. You cannot work with JavaScript at all without Node. So it's a runtime environment. So go and install Node or just install Node Version Manager. Learn how to work with Node Version Manager. It is going to enable you to work with that. Then JavaScript is now going to be able to run better, just like what you're seeing there. Oh, JavaScript, Linux is not hard. It's a mentality, just mentality. But the one that I can advise you to start with is Ubuntu. Ubuntu is friendly. It is very much friendly. People are trying to speak here. Let me just allow them to clear their throat. Let me close this one, then allow people to clear their throat as we progress slowly. Oh, the hands are down now. Meogopa. Okay, we have this person. Felix, talk to us.
Yeah, thank you. You see there was a catch-up on Python you did, but it's hearing that for the first time. Is there a recording for that? And is there possibly going to be another one? Because I really like this kind of catch-up. Thank you.
Catch up. You see, we are different modules, different instructors. I taught you Python because I was taking the class for somebody who was not available. Of course, I teach in a lot of modules, but my module particularly is for web. Next week, we have another catch-up for web. But that catch-up is going to be an entire class because we are back. We are behind because of the holidays that we have been having, the Easter, the Eid, the holiday, and everything. So we are a little bit behind from other modules. Yet we are supposed to conclude the first half of the cohort before we jump to the specialization. But the catch-up classes are great.
Oh, thank you. And just final one. That the class that you took for Python, which week was it, kindly, if you can remember?
I don't know, but it was a normal class. It was a normal class. I took an afternoon class. I don't know which
Okay.
one. I think it was last week or last week, but one.
Okay, I look it up. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other person who wants to clear their throat before we jump into the next session? Or we are good? Anyway, let us proceed. Let us proceed. Now, we have done all of that. Now let us do something called type conversion. In the previous course, I didn't teach this, but from research that I did, I find it better to be able to introduce learners earlier on so that they can be able to understand these things. So type conversion, JavaScript performs automatic type conversion when needed. So this particular word, I don't know, that word is called, let me see if I can remember to remember while typing. This word, yeah, this word here, like more of coercion. So practical practice of forcing another party to act in an involuntary manner by use of threats or force. So JavaScript performs automatic type conversion when needed. So this type conversion, we are forcing JavaScript or forcing another type to work with another type, to convert to another type. So that's what we're talking about. Let me go back. So that is called type conversion. So how do you achieve type conversion? How do you convert string to number? How do you convert number to string or even to Boolean? How do you change Boolean to the other? When it is true, you change it to false. When it is false, you change it to true. How do you achieve something like that? Well, how do you achieve something like that? So we are about to find out. Now, under type conversion, I'm just going to jump through this quickly. Then, so converting string to number. This is still under JavaScript basics. Now, let's say we have something like num, let's say num string, so like something like that. Then you say this num string, let us do something funny, say 42, like there. Then we want to do explicit conversion. We can do implicit and explicit. We want to do explicit and implicit conversion. We are going to find the difference between those terms. So to do explicit conversion, we are just going to say num number. So you call the data type itself, which is number. Then you come and say num. Where is this? Yeah, this one here. I get carried out. So this one is called explicit. Explicit conversion. So when you run something like this, we initially thought that when you do console log, then you print number. It is bringing 42. But this 42 initially, when I comment this one out, then I print this 42, it is going to appear like that. No, I'm supposed to change it here. Let me see. Supposed to change it here. This one is not a number. This one is a string. I believe you can be able to strike a difference between a number and a string. This one here in this case is a string. Why? It's a string because it is being enclosed with two double quotes. That is a string. That's the rule of declaring a string. But as soon as we took that one and then we said, okay, we want to convert it to a number now. Then this is how we do explicit conversion. Then the results were, you can be able to see the difference. This is now 42. This is a number. This one is a string. This is a number. This one is a string. Now, that one is called explicit. Now, how about implicit? So doing implicit conversion is not just a big word that you're supposed to, let's say implicit. Not a big word that you're supposed to be afraid. Just take what you're supposed to do, just take the string that you had, then you multiply by 1. I'm going to explain why. When you multiply by 1, there's something that is going to happen. Let us see. Let me change this one and print this one. Even before I explain, I want just you guys to understand. When you multiply by 1, when I talk about truly and falsely values, truly and falsely values. When we talk about truly, we have true, we have 1, we have everything that is positive. Everything that is on the positive side, it is true. Everything that is falsy, that is false, we have 0, we have empty, we have null, undefined, none. Everything else, it is true. Let me even just list them. Let me just list them. So, falsy values. Let me just list them. Falsy values in JavaScript. So falsy values in JavaScript, we have the first one, that is false. We have the second one, which is 0. We have the third one, which is, this means empty string. We have the fourth one, which is null. We already know what null is. We have another one, which is undefined. And then we have the final one, which I believe we have the final one, which is none. This one is pretty much clear, which means not a number. By the way, that is what it means, not a number. That's an abbreviation of what not a number is, none. So let me just highlight and put it there. So these are falsy values in JavaScript. Everything else that is not here everything is truthy. We have falsy and truthy values. Everything else is truthy. So this is falsy. When you put 1 here, you multiply by 1, this string, this one is called implicit conversion. Go and do research and understand more. But this is a trick that you can be able to use to manipulate your code base to work how you want it. So you take a string multiplied by 1. If I take a string multiplied by 0, it is going to give me a string. So I go here, it is going to give me 0, which is falsy. When I multiply by 1, it is going to give me what I want exactly. But I want to explain it in a different way. I want to explain this line in a different way so that you can be able to understand implicit and explicit. So what is happening here? Let me now explain it for you to be able to understand. So 42 in this case is a string, but we are trying to multiply it by 1, which is a number. So JavaScript sees the multiplication sign or multiplication operator, which only makes sense for numbers. So you cannot use multiplication where there's no number. So JavaScript automatically converts 42 to a number. When you take 42, which is a string, then you put an operator that only works in numbers. An operator like string, like a multiplication. Then you multiply by 1. When you multiply by 1, So forget about everything that I said, but this one, I wanted just to put this one across for you to be able to understand. I saw one, then I saw that when you talk about one, every time is false, is truthy, then that one 0. So in this case, how is it converting this one to 42? It is converting this one to 42 because we have an operator here. This operator, JavaScript is going to assume that this one is a number. The operator works between numbers and numbers. So 1 and a number. So this won't convert. It is cheating. It is not the best way, but it's cheating. That's why we say JavaScript, when you go on the upper side, advanced coding, we don't use JavaScript a lot. Why? Because JavaScript is affected a lot when it comes to data types. That's why we use something called TypeScript. So TypeScript is the best in our case. So what you have done here, I was talking about something called coercion here. I talked about something called coercion. So what is happening here, ladies and gentlemen, JavaScript automatically converts 42 to a number using type coercion. So type coercion, we are forcing it to be a number so that it can be able to multiply. So then it's going to perform 42 times 1, which is 42. So we are coercing it to perform. That's why I talk about coercion in type conversion. So why does this happen? So JavaScript is loosely typed language. And that's why I said, when you talk about JavaScript and TypeScript, TypeScript is much more preferred because it is strictly typed language. JavaScript is loosely typed, so it is having issues around data types. While TypeScript, it is strictly typed language. It is very strict in data types. So that means it often tries to be helpful. So JavaScript is there to make sure that, okay, is that what you want? You're trying to cook ugali, but then it turns out that you don't have enough flour. So let us convert this ugali to be a porridge. That is what you want. But for TypeScript, you wanted ugali. My friend, bring enough unga, bring enough flour for us to be able to cook this ugali. I don't know if you guys understand, but let me just open the chat forum. It is really, even if you're not going to cover everything, but things like this, you have to need to understand them. It is helpful for you to understand that JavaScript is good, but JavaScript is trying to be helpful. Hence, it is not perfect language when it comes to advanced programming. That's why even for me right now, I use TypeScript to do advanced coding when I build application for people or clients or companies. I use TypeScript a lot. JavaScript is not even an option. It's never in my mind because it is loosely typed. But for you starting out, TypeScript is derived from JavaScript. So when you understand JavaScript really well, TypeScript is exactly the same thing, except that it is JavaScript in steroids. So you can just put your comments on chat as we progress. But JavaScript is just trying to be helpful. Yeah, it is still correct. It is still correct. It is still correct. You can just put this one here. It is still going to give you the same value. Good. Thank you, Simba. Anyway, this this is a cheating way, but okay, it works. It works. But of course, there's a caveat there. There's a caveat. It only works whereby you're trying to convert strings to numbers, but not the other way around. You cannot come and say, this one is hello, and then you try to convert this hello by multiplying 1 so that it can become hello 1. No, no, no. It is not going to, it is going to give you something called none, not a number. Let me even show you. It is going to give you not a number, none. So that's the caveat that is there. This only works if the string is numerically valid. We're talking about validity. It is numerically valid. 42 is numerically valid, but hello is not numerically valid. That's the caveat that you're supposed to understand there. So or we can say, if you want to know more about coercion, JavaScript is there. So somebody is saying, So if you know JavaScript, you basically use TypeScript without having to learn it. Yeah. I use TypeScript a lot. Remember, TypeScript is more of type safety. Type safety. So you work, when it comes to data types, you're supposed to focus there a lot. Learn data types in TypeScript, but everything else the same, except on a few changes here and there. When you learn JavaScript, understand JavaScript really well, TypeScript is going to be a walk in the park. And trust me, when you tap into TypeScript, it is there to the end. I hope you guys really understand because, yeah, for me, it is sinking in. So, like I told you, only works with the numerically valid strings. If you're talking about hello string, hello is not a number. Hello is a string by default. Whether you change it to, so it is going to also always give you not a number, which is none. None, abbreviation for not a number, for those who don't understand. Now, people, let's talk about operators. Good thing I've mentioned this one. Let's talk about operators in JavaScript. Now, operators in JavaScript, let me just open a new one. Now, operators in JavaScript, we have several. We have arithmetic operators, assignment operators. We have comparison operators, logic operators. Before that, somebody is asking, first time to hear about TypeScript. It's like I'm living in a hole. So much plan. Yeah, TypeScript, yes, there. I actually use TypeScript a lot. Even the last time I used TypeScript, I was pushing a code. Not even, I pushed a code just a few minutes ago. I was trying to modify my portfolio. Yeah, this is my portfolio. I built it in React. I was trying to modify this one. Of course, it is using TypeScript all over. I was trying to add an experience got a job as a software engineer in a UK company. So I was trying to modify this one. It is using TypeScript essentially, not JavaScript. JavaScript is not even something to converse. We only talk about JavaScript if you're trying to learn JavaScript. But as soon as you learn JavaScript, please learn TypeScript as soon as possible so that your project can be great. Now, people, not to scare you, but that was not in the play today. Yeah, it is used there. And you're supposed to ask yourself why. They use JavaScript, of course, but TypeScript is used a lot. Why? Strictly typed programming language. Anyway, no, you're not pushing your code to NVM. NVM is not a version control. NVM is just a node version manager. But I'm going to push the code for the project that we're going to do. So we have operators. We have like four. Four types of operators. Arithmetic operators, assignment operators, comparison operators, and logical operators. So arithmetics, really quick. Arithmetics. So arithmetics, ops. So this one, just numbers. So let me declare a few things. A equals 10. Let B equals something like 5. Now, for you to be able to see these operators in play, you're going to be declaring things here. So console.log. So the first operator, the usual one, addition. So you add. So you add these numbers. So node operators. So when you add 10 and 15, what do you get? 10, add 15, add 5, you get 15. That's obvious. So this one is called addition operator. Then we have the second one. The second one, the usual one, which is subtraction. A subtract B. When you subtract A from B, subtract B from A, you get 5. So 10 subtract 5, you get 5. That is your answer there. Then you have another one. Just the operators that you normally have. But I'm going to add one more operator that I have not taught in class before. And people normally don't actually pay attention to that operator. arithmetic operator. So log, then we have multiplication. So you use asterisks. You use asterisks. So when you take 5 multiplied by 10, you get 50. We have another one. This one is called division. So you use forward slash, divide, forward slash. So 10 divided by 5, you get 2. For those who are sleeping in math class, sorry. So let me enable reaction. People are so quiet here. Please don't misbehave. Don't misbehave. I've just enabled the charts. Some people are waiting. When is this guy going to enable these charts? Anyway. So, for me, I like attention. So we have division. Then we have another one called Boolean. No, not Boolean, modulus, sorry. Called modulus. So modulus is where you are trying to find the remainder. So A modulus B, what you're just trying to say is when you take 10 divided by 2 by 5, what's the remainder? That is the answer that you're trying to get there. So remainder is always 0, 0. So we are expecting 0, just like that. If I change something here, maybe to 6, I get remainder of 4. You see? Now, the one that I wanted to introduce. So this one is not division. Please, this one is called modulus. That one is called modulus. For those people, I've done this in a unit in university called number theory. That unit was a preamble for a unit called cryptography. Let me tell you, that unit, a lot of people had retakes. People failed that class a lot. It was a preamble for a unit called cryptography and steganography. It is based majorly on modulus. We did a lot of calculations there. Yeah, so I was paid by a lot of people to teach them this. So it is called number theory. So the one that I wanted to show you is called, and most of you have not heard this one. So A, multiply, then B. So it is like multiplication, but no, this one is called exponential. That word is really long. Let me type it. Exponentation. So exponent. You people really understand this thing? Let me just Google for you. In JS. So when I talk about exponent, that word, very long. I don't want to bite my tongue. So in JavaScript, that word operator is represented by 2 asterisks, and it is used to raise the first operand to the power of the second operand. So basically you are saying 10 raised to 5. You're saying 10 raised to 5. We have 10 raised to 2, which is 100. 10 raised to 3, 1,000. 10 raised to, you go. 10 raised to 4, you have 10,000. 10 raised to 5, 100,000. So I expect 100,000. I wish it was shillings, dollars. So as you can see, that operator. So you take the first operand, you raise to the power of the second operand. So 10 raised to 5. It is written like that. Now, that was part of the assignment operator or arithmetic operator. Now, how about, let me also comment this one. How about the second one, which is called assignment? This is what I was talking about. Listen here. Assignment ops. Assignment ops, this is mostly used in variable declaration. So let x equals 10. So what you're saying here, 10 is belonging to x. So let us try and manipulate this all along so that you can be able to understand. And please, 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 I could have left it at that like this, but I want to add one more thing. I want to add like, not one, like 5 more things that you're going to understand it later on. So how do I do that? So I want to play with this thing. So I can be able to say, if I want to do increment, I want to do x increment by 5. How do I do that? I do, the typical way is do x like that, 5, right? What I'm trying to say here is x, the original x, add 5. This is the same as saying x equals to x plus 5, which is 15. It is simple. I believe you people understanding what I'm saying. Or, okay, maybe I can be speaking to myself. Let me get views from you. Views from you guys. Are we getting the point? Great. Yeah, that is still the case. That is still the case, but there's also why I'm using this one. Because when you say x plus plus, you basically say x plus equals 1. That is 1. But when you're talking about 5 or another number that is not 1, somebody is saying that there's a cheesy bias, and please don't get confused here. It is simple. Yeah, they're similar. These things are programming concepts. Hey, somebody's asking me that on Flutter. Let me disable the chats. You're getting out of context here. Yeah. So now that one is part of it. So that is assignment. Remember assignment. So you take 10 equals to, you take 10, say 10 plus 5, you get a new number, a new one. That's why you're using let. People are laughing so hard. Please calm down. Now we have another one. We have another one for minus. So that one is increment. When you do increment, use plus or addition sign. How about decrement? Simple. When you do decrement by 3, let's say, for example, that one is basically saying x minus 3, which is basically you're going to get 12. We're not done yet. We have an increment by multiplication. Increment by multiplication, you're talking about asterisk equals 2, then you give 2, for example. I'm just giving you, you're going to be using these things in your coding, by the way. You multiply by 2. Basically, what you're going to get there is 24. Somebody's getting confused. Let me take you back for it not to be confused. We initially had what? This is math, by the way. We initially had 10. Take 10, add 5, 15. So that one is our new x. So take that 15 minus 3, you get 12. Take that 12, multiply by 2, you get 24. Remember, we are using let. And we talked about let as mutable. You can be able to change it. Mutability, people. Try to follow me. Mutability. Somebody on the background is saying, oh, that is what you meant. Ah, I didn't know. Simple. I like to interact with my people like that. Now, remember we are at 24. That one is our new x. So now take 24. Take 24, then you use that one. Then you say 4. You want to decrement or to do an operator, an assignment operator, using that one. So take x, which is 24. So x divided by 4. So 24 divided by 4, you get 6. Simple. Now take 6, then do modulus. So x, I'm trying to just remind you, x modulus what? So that is percent. So modulus 4. So I want to do modulus. I want to divide by 4, then get the remainder. So how do I do that? So x, which is 6, equals to x modulus 4. So when you take 6 divided by 4, the remainder is 6 divided by 4 people. Let me enable the charts so that you can be able to see people who are sleeping in class. They should go back for their school fees. Yeah, we get a remainder of 2. So that is the remainder that you're putting there. So that's 2. Then you can be able to go further and say x, exponent. I don't know if this one works. We say 2 raised to 4. Give me the answer, give me the answer, give me the answer here, give me the answer. 16, good. I see people are not sleeping. Good. Now, we are done with that. That one is part of the assignment operators, assignment ops. Now, let us go to the next one, which is called comparison. Now, please, if you are drinking water, if you're eating, if you're doing anything, if you're making stories, leave that and listen to me, because this one is going to save you an embarrassment somewhere else. People really get confused here. They get confused with the assignment operators. Now, this one is called comparison. Comparison ops. Now, for comparison ops, you're going to say let A, the same thing, let A equal 5 as a number, but then also let B equals to, then something like that. So I don't want you to get confused. When you're done, share the files via GitHub kindly. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Disable chat. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Let me do that so that you can put, I like you students now. Increment 5, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So what I'm going to teach you right now is part of the comparison operators, and I'm going to do like 8 of them. 8. I'm going to do 8. Typically, I'm supposed to do like 4, 5 like this, but I'm going to do 8. So the first batch. So when you say console log, you see, when you understand, I'm taking a lot of time for you to be able to understand the basics of JavaScript, so that when you go to a project, you just jump on it and run with it like it is going to be simple. So I'm going to use something called equal. When I'm talking about equal or lose equality, which means you compare the values only, but not the types. Have that in mind. I'm going to put that in the comments. So A, B. So I'm trying to say here, let me even print this one. Then I want people to contest. I like people contesting. So why is it true? Then you're talking about 5 as a number and 5 as a string being equal. No, these are not equal. Why is it giving us true? Is JavaScript on steroids or doing what? Drunk? No, JavaScript is not drunk. It is actually okay, but you just need to understand why. So this one is equal operator, or you can say lose. You can say lose, like it is equal, but anyway, it is lose equality. I call that lose equality. So it is equal, but A is not equals to B. Just like saying a man is equals to a woman. Please let me not bring that topic. That's a lot of issues. So this one is going to give us true, but take note of this one. This one compares values and not type, or you can say data type. That one is going to strike a different. Take note of that. Compares only values. The value is 5. As long as it is 5, yeah, it is 5 on the other side. Even if it is a string, compares values are not type. That's why it is giving us true. But how about the next one, which is called strict equality? So strict equality, you put 3 of them. This one is going to give you false. It is going to give you false. The second one is going to give you false. Why? It is giving you false because it is called strict equality. Strict equal. It is strict equal. Why? It is going to give me false. Why? This one compares values and type. So there's something called gates. You're going to get later, logical gates, whereby we have and, we have or, we have NAND, we have NOR, those things. Compares. If I try to digress on these topics, I can even teach you this comparison for like 2 hours straight because there's a lot that gets to it. So value. And let me put this one in capital, and data type. So it checks here, it is 5, but data types, no. So if this one is true, and this one is false, in logical gates, I can be able to say this one is called OR. I can say OR gate. This one I can call it AND gate. Somebody can just Google that and see. Please don't cry. This is just part of computer. Nobody said it's going to be easy. Nobody said it's going to be easy, but this is just part of learning. You're learning every day. I'm not supposed to tell you this, but later on you're going to remember so and so said this and this. So when this one is true, for OR gates, when this one is true and this one is false, you also get true. But for AND gate, when this one is true and this one is false, this one is false. The answer. That's why you're getting false. Somebody is saying how they behave in objects. Let us just print them for now. So we have another one, which is called console.log. This one is called not equal. Basically not equal. When you see anything like this anywhere, just say this. When you see something like that, when you see an exclamation, anywhere, just know something is not, it's the opposite. So this one is just saying not equal. But it is loose as well. Let me just put it that way. It is loose. Why? It is not equal, it is loose. But then you have, when you want to do strict, when you want to do everything strict, so from now, you can able to use this one, but when you want to be strict a lot, as long as JavaScript is concerned, you see, when you're working with JavaScript, you tend to use this one because it covers data types. But when you're using TypeScript, just use this one. Imagine. Because TypeScript by default, it is type safety. It is strict on data types. So when you say just lose equality to it, it is strict equality. Also this one. When you use this one in JavaScript and use the same thing in TypeScript, it's going to give you 2 different results. But because I've said JavaScript is loosely typed programming language, like it agrees with you a lot. You see when you are in an argument, but then you agree with somebody just to make sure that the conversation just ends. That is JavaScript. But TypeScript is going to say, no, I'm the one who is correct. You are not correct. I'm just trying to paint a picture to you. Now, let us do another one, which is strict. So the strict one, you intend to have the double one. So just like that. People are raising their hand. Let me see what they're trying to say. Then the hand is down now. Please don't raise the hand if you don't intend to speak. Thank you. Now, this one is now called strict. Strict, not equal. This one is strict, not equal. So, even I can be able to print them so that you can be able to see. You see true, false, then false. You're saying that A is not equals to B. A is not equals to B. But then this one saying, no, I don't agree with you. But you as a human, you know that A is not equals to B. But then it's telling you, no, it is not that way. But then we say A is strictly not equals to B. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Giving you true. Simple. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us do the last operators. Let us do the last operators. Then we can jump to conditional statements. After conditional statements, we do basic handling of events or basic event handling. And then we do a project, a small project, really quick. I'm not going to type everything, but I'm going to explain the JavaScript part of it. After that, we are going to go to functions really quick. Then I'm going to jump to, after functions, on functions, we have things like arrow function, function expression. We have parameters and everything to do with that. I'm going to be rolling with that, do function scope, callbacks. I'm going to do things like immediately invoked function expression that I've not taught. Then we do a project, explain the JavaScript part of it. Then we do loops. Loops, we are going to jump on it really quick. I'm not going to dwell that and do that a lot. And then what else am I remaining? I'm just checking my notes. We do a project. Then we do DOM. But if you're not going to cover document object model today, I'm going to cover it in the next class heavily. Let me just see. I'm just trying to see how much time we have. Yeah. I'm not going to cover this. You see, we have events here. We have JavaScript events. And for this one, we're not even supposed to touch on the events. So I'm going to be covering a lot in the next two classes. Don't mind about this one. This one is just JavaScript on steroids. So today I'm just trying to see where I can be able to stop at so that I can allow you guys to digest. Let me see. I'm going to cover functions. After functions, I'm going to call it a session. Yeah. After functions, we are going to do a project, then we can call it a session. Then loops and what? Let me see. Loops and DOM. We are going to cover it in the next session, which is going to be beautiful. Let me tell you, it's going to be beautiful. It's only that we have a catch-up class once a week. If you can have two, I'm going to be spending time with you. The reason why I don't want to take you so much, because if I want, I can take this class for 4 hours. For those who are not used to, in campus, we can even go for 4.5 hours for a particular class. But let me not waste time. Let me finish at functions, then we can call it a session. So we are what? But we have covered a lot. Let me do conditionals, then we can be able to move slowly. So conditionals, let me move quickly. Conditionals. So when talking about conditional, we have several types. We have if, else, switch case, ternary, those 3 types. So if, else. So if, else. When talking about if, else conditions, these are majorly used just to give alternatives. When this is not happening, what else will be happening? So let us declare a few things. So age. I've not even completed this one. Sorry, I'm jumping on my head. Let me finish this one. Sorry for that. I've not done logical. So logical operators. I'm just remembering, sorry. Logical ops. So logical operators, we are going to say just right when you're writing logic, logged in, something like that, you're saying true. Then you're saying let us permission. You're going to say false. Then how do you work with this? Is exactly, by the way, I didn't know if logical has this, but this one is called logical gates, what I've been telling you. Or you can say, yeah, logical gates. This is why I'm going to explain it deeper. Why this one and this one, or this one and this one. And so this one are logical gates. Actually, I'd forgotten. Don't know why, it has slipped my mind. But logical operators, that is how they work. We have logical and, we have logical or, we have logical not. You can even browse and check logical operators, logical ops in yes. Logical operators, we have or, and, not, we have nor, NAND, those things. So JavaScript supports several logical operators that are used to determine logic between variables and values. The primary logical gates are, we have logical AND, used by ampersand, two ampersands. Then we have logical R, used by two strikes, can say strokes, blah, blah, blah. Then we have logical not, denoted by one exclamation mark. Then we have NOR, we have not, a lot, but we have three major. From these three, we can derive two more. So let us see. So console.log, how they work. This is our logic. So let us see. So we can come and say it's logged in. Then you can say and. So when you say and, two ampersands, but these two ampersands, for when you're using Linux, it is used somehow different. So two ampersands has permission. So ladies and gentlemen, here we are talking about combining the results from this and this to give you the output. We know that is logged in is true, but this one is false. When you take positive multiplied by negative, what you can say, just to be able to explain to you, this one is called logical, and it's going to give you false. Why? In our case, it's going to give you false because I can say this one is like multiply. That's how I understand it more. So when you take positive multiplied by negative, it's going to give you negative. Take it to the bank. So true multiplied by false is going to give you false. So let me even remove this. It's going to bring confusion. I'll just understand it that way. Then we can even print this one. We have false. True and false. As long as we have and, it's just like if you are born again, a Christian. You cannot confuse, when you put light and darkness, always darkness. I don't want to preach, I don't want to collect offerings. When you put light and darkness, always darkness. Heaven and hell, always hell. You cannot confuse those two. That's a pretty much good example. Now, I'm just trying to give you several scenarios or several analogies for you to be able to allow you to sink in. So it's logged in. Then we use that, what we call standing strikes, those stroke slashes, has permission. So when you're trying to say it's logged in or has permission, it is going to give you true because it is either of the two. Like you're trying to say true or false, always true. It's like you're nullifying the false already. As long as you have or and a false anywhere where true is, it's going to also give you true. So this one is called logical or. And for me, I usually say this is like addition when you add something. I've done logical gates in computer, I've done logical gates in electronic, in a unit called electronics. Yeah. So they usually match. And in maths, I've done it like discrete mathematics. Now, this one is going to give him an answer. True. Now, how about the not? So we know that it's logged in is true, right? But if I want to negate that statement, I'm going to use something called exclamation. Is logged in. So when I use this one, I'm going to get an answer which is false by default. So I'm negating There's a meme. Somebody said, um, um, babe, do you love me? That was a girl. Then the boy replied, the boy replied like that. What was that guy trying to say? He was just trying to say no, I don't love you. So when you use something like that to somebody who is not oriented in computer, you're going to throw them away. That one is saying not yes, is just saying no. You're negating. Yes, I love you, but no. You're negating the statement. This is exactly like saying no, in other words. Let us continue. Okay. I think you have had your fun. Let us now go to something else. Okay, I don't want to handle something called short circuit. Short circuit evaluation, we normally use that one a lot. Even I use that one when I'm trying to work with let me just show you the short circuit. I use that one a lot, short circuit. I'm not talking about electricity here, please. Short circuit evaluation. Now, when you say let name, then you allow somebody to enter their name. So this one is dynamic. If they don't enter their name, just by default give guest. So when I print this one, console.log, then I say name. So when you don't enter the name here, I'm going to get always this one. That one is called short circuit evaluation. Let me comment this. I'm always going to get guest. So this one, we normally use it when you don't provide this one, just do this as a fallback. It's called fallback. So if the name is empty, use guest. It's called short circuit evaluation. I usually use it a lot. In every project that I do, I normally use it, but not in the case that you think. For example, I'm saying that the users entered an API key here. If you don't enter it, let us just use this one. Or you talk about the user using a port number as an API. If you don't enter that port number, let us do a fallback of just doing this. So this one, short circuit evaluation. People, let us jump to conditionals. Talking about if else. Though here I've not covered something. Here. I forgot to cover something here. That is greater than, less than, greater than or equals to, less than or equals to. That one you guys don't know. You just know that thing. I'm not going to dive to that. Those are the obvious. Now, the if else. So we're talking about age. So if age, let age be 20, then you're going to say if. So if else, so if age is greater than or equals to 18. So if that's how you write it. So console. If you didn't do the basics of JavaScript, go and watch the video that the instructor did last week. You're going to get the picture. Then we are doing just the catch up. So console.log. By doing the catch up, I'm brushing through all the detail. I want you guys to understand the detail of the basics. For the others, you can be able to jump on it. You are an adult. Else, you are going to provide an else. You are going to say console.log. I don't know. Let me do something a joke. Please grow up. Yeah. Please grow up. So when I run this one, so node conditionals, you are an adult. So if I change this one to 16, then I run it, please grow up. So conditionals, They provide an alternatives. So if this one is not the case, please execute the next one. They are great. That is if else. How about when you're talking about multiple conditions? We're talking about multiple conditions. There's something you can able to use as well. So multiple condition, this one is just single case condition. If you're talking about multiple condition, let's say let score be equals to 85, right? So we can come and say, let me just copy it because of time. So we can come and say, let score. So if score is greater than or equals to 90, grade A. Else, so we have another one called elif. So we have other programming languages calling it elif. But for JavaScript, we call else if. So else if score is greater than or equals to 80, provide that. Else if blah, 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 blah. So we want to see where this one falls under. So you can come and say grade B falls under grade B. So grade B is this one here. So greater than or equals to 80. So it is 80 and above, grade B. Else you're getting an F. But this is the grading system of university. Don't have an E. It's A, B, C, D. For those who are not gotten a chance to go to college, we only have F. So below D, that is an F. And from the university that I came from, when you get an F, you get a retake of, you pay 10,000 Kenya shillings per unit. Very expensive. So you don't have an option to. Yes, Simba, talk to us.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, I want to ask if we say let score be a number that is greater than 100, what is it going to give us? Because
So let us right here.
Yes, let's make it 105.
Going to give you grade A.
Okay, so it automatically knows that it has to end with 100.
So we have not done that yet. So what we are saying here, this one is the dynamic score that we are giving. But the first one is saying any number that is greater than 90 or equal to 90. So it has to be greater than 90 to infinity or equals to 90.
Yeah.
So we can provide a breakpoint whereby it has a limit. It has a limit. So greater than or equals to 90. Then, but you can say, you can come and say, or you can say, and score is less than or equals to, you can say 100. So, and it has to follow that strictly. So when you come and run this one, it is going to give you grade B. Wait a minute. Why is it falling under? Oh, yeah. So you have to come and put it all over. You come and put it all over so that you can be able to restrict that. Like that, like that, like that. Yeah. So you are saying this number, it is greater than or equals to 60 and it is less than or equals to 100. So when you run something like this, it is going to give you something that is not within our scope. So I don't know why it is giving F, because F it is not 100. I don't know how you can be able to do this. So let us remove this one. Yeah, so it is not going to run anything because that number is not within. So if you do 10, also 10 is less than, it is not within our scope. If you do 100, 100 is within our scope. So we are trying to put a range. So this is a range. That's what we're trying to put across. Hello? That is what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is how you create a range, people. This is how you create a range. Make sure you just use and. If you use or, it is going to ignore it all the time. So if you use and, it is going to strictly follow that. Are you answered?
Yes, I'm answered. Thank you.
Nice. Now, let us proceed. So this one is called else if or if else statements. Now, how about switch cases? We have other cases called switch cases. I'm just going to copy these things. So we have switch case. So for this one, let me just copy that portion of the code base. Now, this one is very simple. So you're saying, let the day be 3. Then we declare another one called let day name. So this one is undefined, of course. Now, we are saying switch case. So we're saying switch day. So the case that, in the first case, case 1, day name is equals to Monday. Day name Tuesday 3, like that, like that, like that. Then the default one, which is invalid day. Wait a minute. Okay. So we are saying the first case, let day equals 3, which means you're talking about case number 3. So case number 3, if we change this one to 2, it's going to give us Tuesday. If we change this one to 1 here, it's going to give us Monday. So let us see if that is true. So we are going to do a console log here. Console log, then we say day name. So let us see. Like I told you, we're talking about Wednesday. So this is where you declare the value for this variable. So we are saying this is the parameter that you're taking in. But the value for that variable, it's a case number. So case 1, case 2, case 3. So case 3 is number 3. You put it there. So when you talk about case number 3, the day name is going to be printed because we are saying here day name. Then you break, you go to the next one. You break, you go to the next one. When you are done with everything and you don't print anything, you come here and say, just remove this one. It is going to give you an invalid day. Let us see. Invalid day, because it's going to give you an invalid day because you have not initiated any case here that you're talking about. Go and start about cases, but that one is not a concern for my class today. Let me do another one. It's called ternary operator. So ternary operator is like you're doing nested, like using like, I don't know. I'm trying to find a way to explain it. Ternary operator. So for ternary operators, like the shorthand for writing simple logic. This is a way to write simple logics. Instead of using the big else if or switch cases, you just write something small that is going to bring a lot of impact. So for example, let me just copy the code base that I have. Someone is sleeping. Why are you sleeping in my class? So let me also comment this one. So let age be 20, then let status equals to age, blah, 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 adult and everything. Somebody is trying to say, why are you writing something like that? I don't understand. I don't understand that thing. So let me explain. So here we are checking if the age is greater than or equals to 18. So if this one is true, we print adult. If this one is false, we print minor. So this one is going to check condition. This one is going to be true, and this one is going to be false. Always. So just to give you a perspective, what we're talking about here is something like this. Condition, value if true, value if false. So condition, age is greater than or equals to 18. then you put question mark. If value is true, you put the value there. Value is false, you put the value of false there. So we say let age equals to 20. This is the shorthand of writing the if-else, people, the shorthand. So it is a compact alternative of if-else. If you don't want to write if-else statement, please use this one. So I expect this one to print adult because typically your age is greater than 20. So you can come and say adult. There you go. So this one is the basic ternary syntax that I'm talking about, the basic ternary syntax, this one here, line 57, which you have been given the syntax way in line 60. Now, how about to jump on the next wagon, which is another one, which is nested ternary. So let me just copy it and come and print it. We'll see if you can be able to understand it. Comment this one out as well. Now, same case. So we are checking the condition. So if it is true, then we check again the condition. So that's how we are doing it. So basically what we are doing here is we are checking, so checks if the value that we have entered is greater than or equals to 90. In our case, it is going to give us false. So again, it's going to check until it is a nested one. So it is a nested one. Just basically is the basic one that you can use if you're trying to use this one here. Also for this one, you can be able to use it. So just look at that syntax. So score greater than or equals A. So if this one is true, so condition true, condition true, condition true. Just like that, condition like that, true, condition true, like that. It's going to compare. So checks this one, compares. So if this one is not this one, it's going to give false. Checks again. If this one is not that one, it's going to scan through until it's going to find. Then it's going to give you the else one. So let us run it. Let me comment this one. It's going to give you B. It is scanning until it's going to find the correct one, then it's going to give you B. So this one is good for short conditions. If you don't want to use nested things, imagine this code base like this, taking space, yet you can be able to write something like that, short. Go and study this one and understand it better. Just shortcuts. Now, people, let us do something called basic event handling. Let me first of all enable. People have been floating like no other day. People have been floating. Welcome. Who is floating? Nice. T for tough, of course. Naathirika, ya, unaweza angamia pia. You want to know my story? Find me behind the tent. You're going to be surprised. Yeah, I like the way Anne is relating to this. When you relate to another programming language, it is going to sink in well. It is not rocket science. You just, when you want to comment by grouping, just highlight everything, then you press Control// for any programming language whatsoever. Yeah, dust is constant, like C, like everything. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, I'm going to share a repo at the name of the two compact method. This one is called ternary operation. Ternary. That is compacting, putting things like that, slapping them. Yeah, yeah. Even the late grade, that one is the if else as well. Okay, let us go back to class. Yeah, from once in a while, I allow people to talk. Now, let us go to basic event handling. So, event handling. So, event handling, or you can say events are action that happen in the browser, like button clicking, like page loading, like hovering, and so on. Somebody, let me allow to talk. Kevin, talk to us.
Mine is just to ask a very simple one. Is this the same as vanilla JavaScript?
Yeah,
Vanilla
JavaScript is just pure JavaScript. This is pure JavaScript.
Okay, thank you.
When somebody talks about vanilla anything, that is pure anything.
Okay.
Now, so event are action that happen on the browser, button clicking, page loading, and everything. Anything that you see happening on the browser, that is an event. When you click a button, what happens next? When you hover on something, what happens? When you scroll, what happens? That's an event. That's an event. So let me give you a preview. Let me go and say, let me just remove everything here. Let me not affect that. So events, HTML, HTML5, call this one events. You're going to understand this more when you talk about DOM, a lot. Don't worry. So if right now you're going to float, please, it is understandable. Now, talk about a button. Then this button you say click me. So click me, right? So in this button, we are going to declare an ID. Then you say my BTN. We call that ID my button. Now, we talk about internal JavaScript, right? So this is how you do internal JavaScript. Then you come and say, you now want to do an example of an event. You want to do an example of an event so that you understand how you can able to use JavaScript to trigger events. So you come and say document dot get element. Don't worry about this get element by blah, blah, blah. You're going to understand them much better in the next class. I want to specifically take time and make sure that we all understand that. My BTN. So it is taking that by ID, then you say add event listener. So the event listening that you're talking about, the event is called click, and then the function. So I can be able to use this kind of function called arrow functioning. I'm going to tell you later on why I use arrow function or whatever. It's no, something like that. Then I can be able to slap an alert like that. So I can be able to come and say button clicked. So when I navigate here, close, dispose, then live again. Copy that one, slap it there. So when I click this one, I expect, you see, I click, then something happens. That one is called an event. So as long as I click that one happens. I know I introduced this one here, but this one is not an event. I didn't declare any event listening here, but here I can able to have that event listening. I can say, when you click that button, take me to this other page, take me to that page. You see, when you click that button, take me to the next page. Or when you click that button, reload the page. So this one is called event listening, event handling, rather. So we have like 6 common events. Common, I'm talking about common because we have many. So the 6 common events, let me just to copy them. I have them in my notes, by the way. So the 6 common events, we have the click event. User clicks on an element, blah, blah, blah. Then you have mouse hover. When you hover, then you mouse out. So when the mouse pointer moves out of the element. So when you take the mouse out of the element, something is going to happen. What is going to happen? Then we have the key down. Also, we have another one called key up. as long and so on. So then we have another one called load. We have submit. So submit is called for form submission, page loading and everything. So these are the 6 common events that we normally have. Let us do a hands-on practice for this entire session. Then we can be able to see. Though for this one, I don't really need to see how I can be able to do that because there's something I've not covered. So let me leave it at that. The hands-on for this one, let me leave it at that because there's something I want to cover. After covering that, then we can be able now to jump on the next wagon. You see, people are going to be confused. What is add event listener? What is get element? I want to go down to this on something called document object model. After doing that, then I can be able to freely show you how. So allow me to jump on that because I want to cover that in document object model. Then you're going to understand the events. So I'm not going to do that right now. So let me immediately jump on the next one, which is called functions. When I do functions, I think now we can be able to say now, yeah, the class now was worth it. But with what I'm having right now, I cannot be able to show you this get element by ID, get element by tag name, get element by class, and so on. Get element by selector or get element query selector all. Those things are part of document object model. And I'm going to dive deeper in the next class on DOM. After doing that, you guys are going to be okay. For now, let me cover functions. So let us leave this one pending for now. So functions are the heart of reusability. When you want to reuse something, you are writing a code block, you want to reuse that code block. Functions are your guy. So functions are reusable blocks of code designed to perform specific tasks. So they help maintain code organization, reusability, and of course, modularity, modular architecture, and so on. Don't mind about that. So let me open a new one, functions. Now, how do you declare a function? How do you declare functions? So the traditional way to define a function is just by saying function. Mark that I said tradition. So then it's going to carry something like that. Then you return something. This one is the traditional way, which is normally the other way of maybe just designing it. You say function, then you put the function name. So the basic syntax, for you to be able to understand, you have to supposed to declare, or the traditional way, the function, or the keyword function, the function name, the parameter, then the return. So for example, this one I can come and say, hello. Then I come and do that one. This one is the traditional way. You guys know this one. You guys know this one. You see? Then I can come and say hello. So when I come and do console log, I can come and say greet. Then I come and say that. So when I come and say, so node functions, so hello, dead, just like that. That's the traditional way. So I can able to reuse. So I'm reusing that one. I'm reusing the greet. Now, remember I said the traditional way, right? How about the modern way? The modern way is whereby you are assigning a function to a variable. Back then I talked about variables. Then I talked about immutability. Why? This one is very important. The const, keyword for variable declaration. From now henceforth, you're going to find out why we use this one. So that one is function declaration. How about expression, expressing a function? So expressing a function, you assign it to a variable. So this is how you do it. So you come and say const, then you come and say greet. So you come and say greet, then you come and put the thing that you want to put there, just like that. Then say return. The same thing. Let me just copy this one. Something like that. Then of course I close this one. And then I can go to come and print this one. So let us see if it's going to work as well. Okay, we have an issue. Greeters already. Yeah. So let me comment this one out. There you go. So this one is the traditional way, whereby you say function, blah, blah, blah. But then this one is the modern way. This one works really well. So you come and put this one so that you can be able to reuse this variable anytime you want. So whenever you call this one, you're going to be calling it like this. It's a variable, but you're going to be calling it like a method, like a function, whatsoever. Now, my favorite. Remember I mentioned something here about this thing. This is a function called arrow functioning. When you do arrow function, it is also being used in EschemaScript 6, ES6. It is being used there. So for me to be able to use that one, let me also comment this. Yeah, I know your head is aching, so please, I'm almost done. It's just function, then I'm done. So a more concise way or a more concise or concise syntax for function expression is called arrow functions. This one is the best. You just eliminate this word, just remove it. So you come and say const greet. So from now, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to use the traditional. I'm going to be using this new way. Except I'm going to be more using the arrow function. So the arrow function, this is how you do it. Then you put the arrow. It is an arrow function for a reason. You put the arrow. Then, of course, you can bring your thing. Anything that you want. So this one now I can able to use it anywhere I want. So this one is an arrow function. You don't need to put that function name. Just remove it, then use the arrow. Remove the function keyword, then you put the arrow just after the declaring the parameter. So this here. You can even remove this one if you want to. Then you remain with that. So from now, start using the arrow function. It's much short way of doing things. Now, how about the shortened version of the single expression? Yes, there's this way of declaring things. How about if I don't want to do this one? How about if I want to do one line, a one-liner? So I can be able to come and say, greet. Let me just do it that. So I can be able to come and say name. Then do the arrow function. And then do hello world. Just like that. Let me copy that one and do that one there. Just like that. So when I do something like that, I can come and do console log. And then print greet short. Then I put the name here as Kelvin. Oh, you don't believe that is going to run? Oh, it is going to run. There you go. It is running. Kelvin. So this one is the short way, the shortened way of using expression, just like what we did. Just like what we did with the, where is it? Conditionals, the ternary conditionals. The same way you can be able to effect the same here. Now, I've been talking about parameters. What are these parameters? So functions can accept inputs and produce outputs. So what are these inputs called? These inputs are called parameters, and the outputs are called return values. So let me just give you an example for basic parameter. A good example for basic parameter, you can be able to say function, then you add a plus b. So when this one is the input, and this one is the output. So when I come and put this one, I expect to find 8. This one is going to give me 8. This one is a parameter. I don't know if anybody has a question. Yeah, before I jump, let me just see question as I move. So how about this one is called basic parameter. Basic parameter. How about default parameters? This parameter that is there by default. You're defaulting a parameter. Just like when you did a fallback, you say, when you don't provide this one, let us do this one. Let me just do that. Copy that one and do a default one. So here in this case, let me just comment also this. Here in this case, here arrow, copy, machine. Arrow is just an equal sign and the greater than. You just press the equal sign and greater than, just like that. That's the arrow. The arrow function, you just eliminate the, what do you call, the function, keyword, and then up mbele, you just put this one. Here in front, you just put something like that. That's the arrow function. You're going to find the essence of using arrow function later on. I'm not going to mention that right now, but it's the modern way where schema script is being used. Schema script 6 uses. Now, this one is called the, what do you call? The default. So you're saying default parameter because you have put a value to this default parameter. So when I say hello, this name is going to come here by default. If I provide this like this, if I provide it like this, it's going to give me guest. If I give it a name, it's going to throw that one, just like, what is it? Where's that operator? Yeah, just like this one. When you don't provide, it's going to give you a fallback. If you provide, it's going to give you. So it's going to check. Very simple. Now, let us do another one, which is called, we have another one called REST parameters. So it is there to collect multiple arguments into an array. This one is the best. And this one, please pay attention to this one because people normally get confused. And I want somebody to give me the name of this. So let me just copy it, how it is. I want somebody to tell me what it is. So, forget about this one. Yeah, something like that. What is this called? What is the name of this particular syntax that I've just written there? Dot, 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 then numbers. Somebody tell me what that is. Here we have answers coming. Somebody saying spread operator. I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. Another person. Remember, this particular functionality is very important. It is very, very important, very important. And you're going to find me in the next specialization called Manstack, and I'm going to be throwing this around. So it is better for you to understand it right now. Second person has repeated the same thing. I don't know if, let's continue. Somebody saying rest. Somebody saying spread operator. Okay, well, it is called spread operator. It is called spread operator. It is not called rest parameter. It is called spread operator. So it is there to collect arguments. So it is, how can I be able to say this? I'm trying to find a way to explain this in a layman's way for you to be able to understand. So the best way to be able to, it is part of the rest parameter, right? It is part of this rest parameter. But let me just explain, it's called a spread operator. But before you go to spread operator, this one is called rest parameter. I knew people are going to be confused. Somebody said the rest operator, no one. Somebody, spread operator, rest operator, it is called rest parameter. Spread operator is different from rest parameter. People, let us try to understand that. This one is really important. So rest parameter. So rest parameter, this means it is there to collect incoming arguments into a single array of numbers called numbers in this case. So for example, we have 1, 2, 3 up to 5. So this one then becomes array, which is numbers having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, proceeding slowly. Somebody saying I need to rest now. Yeah, I'm almost done. Actually, I'm remaining with the, let me see, return values, return function scope. Let me handle one more part, which is called return values. Then I'm going to call it a session. That is a 3-hour session. From there, we are going to pick up from something called function scope. From function scope, we are going to call back as we go, function, a calculator function project, as we go. But I believe now we have we are now well caught up. It is a catch-up class. Are we well caught up? Are we well caught up? Please don't allow your tiredness to say that yes. People are going to allow their tiredness, because they are tired. Let me do return values, or let me just leave it at that. Let me leave it at that, at rest parameter. Then we can be able to call it. This is a 3-hour session. You're going to faint. You're going to collapse. So the concept that I'm explaining here is called rest parameter. Please try to understand. So this one is going to take it and put it in numbers. But then what you're seeing here called reduce, this reduce is going to take the array and reduce it into a single value. It's going to reduce it into a single value. And the final output is going to be a combination of addition. So let me just show you. It's going to give us 15, but right now you're not going to understand it, but okay. It's okay. Anyway. Yeah, so I think that's all I can offer in a 3-hour session span. I've not even jumped into JavaScript Advanced, but JavaScript Advanced is document object model. Remember, I can teach you JavaScript the whole day. Yeah, I really like to give people the nitty-gritties of everything. So let me leave it at that point. Then let me, in the next class next week, we are going to pick up from where we left at. And trust me, we are going to cover a lot. So come prepared for that class. Come prepared for that class. Yeah. So any question? No, it takes as long as you want. For you to learn something like JavaScript, please just do many projects. Just do a lot of projects. You're going to get experience. It's not learning like a tutorial. Just do projects. Or I myself, I'm training you. I'm not a beginner. I've created a name for myself. You can check my GitHub. You can check my LinkedIn. Yeah. I do myself a good thing for myself. So I don't just train. I also program. I do projects. I'm a software engineer by profession. A trainer just by consultancy. Anyway, let me push these things to GitHub. Oh, please don't follow my tricks and tips here. You're going to be confused. Push, let us see, push new. Let me create a new repo here. With 5.js catch-up. Make it public, copy. but my main programming language is Rust. I love using Rust. Yeah, I've pushed it. Don't mind my conventional way of pushing things. Yeah, this is how I do it. I have my own shortcut. So let me auto-generate something here for you. Let me auto-generate something so that you can be able to understand. Just give me a minute. This is called vibe coding. I also do vibe coding. Let me auto-generate something here. Give me a well detailed readme for this repo as far as the content is concerned. Just what we have covered here. So let it provide for me something. Otherwise, we are done with the class. Any question, any comments, all are welcome. Are you interested to come to the next class? Are you interested to come to the next class? Yeah, you see. Yeah, I'm sharing it right now. I just want the readme to be compiled. You know, I have cursor, but I don't like using it. I just like using, sometimes I like typing raw code. Okay, it is done. Yeah, it is done. So commit readme added push. Done. So let me refresh to see. Yeah, there you go. Actually, it even caught what I was trying to talk about. Anyway, let me copy this repo and put it in the Q&A. Somebody put this in the Q&A, and I'm going to also jump it, put it in the WhatsApp for the catch-up class. Somebody can put that on the WhatsApp, but I'm going to put it right now. Yes, please, even Python is great. Yeah, so somebody can just put that on. Let me enable the Q&A. You can put that on the Q&A for other people. But anyway, anybody wants to say anything before we call it a session? Yeah, Felix, you can find me behind the tent. Find me behind the tent so that I can see what I can do for you. Let me put that link on the group. My WhatsApp is on, but this is the link. Anyone? Just people have raised their hand. Let me see. Let us start with Enold or Kevin. Enold
Hello.
Kevin. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Evening.
Thank you, Mr. Gideon, for the awesome session. Just needed an assistant. I raised this to Zablon, and I wanted to, I was trying to download the workbench. Yeah, but my system, I don't know, because it's kind of, it's installed, but when you try to run it on the VS, it's not working.